looking at here is the life cycle. So Paolo, who is on our data science team, is taking all those external factors. He's looking at the information that is known, public sites for COVID information, maybe state and municipal actions around safe reopenings, taking that and matching it up with historical sales data, because we obviously know historical trends we're not able to use anymore. But he's taking those historical sales information, correlating it with weather, correlating with unemployment rates, but also correlating it with the COVID information and using that to project forward. So once that prediction and projection is done, then Darren, who is our sales planner, is going to be able to ingest that right into planning analytics in our workspace. He's going to be able to go in, start looking at the different projections by the categories, by the products, and he's going to be able to coordinate with Doug, who's our promotion planner, and come up with new promotion plans and uplift for maybe that route to market changing to e-commerce or buy online, pick up in store. They're looking at ways to bring the business back from losing it to maybe some of the online retailers, but bringing them back to what we've got in store, as well as what we have in our e-commerce business. Once Darren and Doug start going through that process, Tracy can go in and look as a category manager, and she can start looking at maybe her different categories. She can hold some of the products in there and overall make a change to the category, all in an effort to get to a final consensus forecast. Because at the end of the day, everybody needs to be on the same page, and they're collaborating here within our solution to do that. So we get that consensus forecast, and then Nicholas, who is in our supply chain team, he's going to be able to look at our existing inventory levels, match that up with the demand, and then optimize any allocations that need to occur to move product from one distribution center to another, and then see any gaps that we either need to procure or manufacture to meet that demand. So all of this is going on in a collaborative and agile fashion. So as the different parts need to go back and be reiterated or look at maybe updated information on constraints in not just around the supply and what's going on with the market, but also constraints around the raw materials necessary. All that can be continuously iterated. And when they're done, Torben in our finance team is going to be able to go through and look at profitability, not just by product, not by total company, but also by customer, and see what is the dollar and cents impact of all the choices made throughout this life cycle. So here we're looking at some of these risk indices going in by geography. So within the United States, some of the different counties or state actions, and as the risk is growing, or maybe the potential for resurgency, because all those are going to impact what goes on in our future plan. We could see what's going on here as far as the state actions, from the various reopenings to maybe new things that are going on for large gatherings in here. And we can cycle that through the time frame to see any changes that have occurred in the process and in the information. So again, all of this is what Paolo is using to help correlate that information and help us grow and get to that demand sensing and baseline forecast. Like I said, Darren is looking at that information. He has already shared the history with Paolo, but now he needs to bring that predictive baseline into the mix so he can easily run this process just to ingest that information and take into all the work that Paolo has worked on. He can look at this by just all retailers, or if he needed to cycle this down by maybe specifically what's the impact to Walmart on the mix here. He can do that and see his categories and where everything is. Maybe he wants to look at the dollar channel. So he has insight to all of this right here at his fingertips to do that work. He's taking it back to all retailers, but he's working with Doug, and Doug is saying, hey, you know what? I need to come up with a new promotion plan. I want to start bringing people into our e-commerce business. I want them to be able to go online and be able to get what they're looking for at our local store, or I can have it shipped to them from one of our nearby warehouses. So coming up with that plan, I'm expecting I would love to get a 4 million unit uplift for that sales promotion. Doug is thinking to himself, that would be great if I can get 400 million units of uplift. But reality is there are a lot of other factors that need to be taken into consideration. So Doug has collaborated with Paolo and looking at what's realistic for that sales uplift, given all of the information that Paolo has ingested on our data science models. So he's looking at this, and now we can see that in addition to what that baseline is that Darren took in, Doug is saying, okay, well, we've got an issue with water. So not only do I not have an uplift for my promotion with water, but I have to take down some of the original part because there is a shortage on bottled water in certain geographies. So all that is being taken into account. Additionally, really there's no uplift for sports drinks. Most of the people that we are catering towards and our consumers are sitting behind the desk, like Bill is, watching his WebEx going on, and he's snacking on chocolate all day. He's not really drinking sports drink because his exercise is just getting up to get more coffee or more chocolate. So we want to take those type of signals into account. And he's able to do that, and they can check this by state, by geography, whatever, and start to see any potential risks of new resurgency coming in and make those adjustments as necessary. But now they've gone through and Doug and Darren have said, okay, I'm feeling confident that we've got some good data science issues going on here. I understand what's going on in my mix. So, Tracy, I need you to take a look at your chocolate category. And as the category manager, Tracy can go in and say, all right, I'm comfortable with what's going on with bittersweet chocolate, so I want to hold that. But overall, people like Bill who are snacking every time they're sitting at WebEx, we're going to have an increase in chocolate, so I need to up my demand. So Tracy is easily going to go in here and put a 15% increase on the overall chocolate category, holding bittersweet chocolate but lifting everything else. So there are some of the categories like premium chocolate that may go up 17, 18% because we're holding bittersweet, but overall the total category is going to solve back to that 15%. So Tracy has made her changes. She is comfortable with that. She has coordinated with Darren and with Doug and making sure that that uplift is taken into account. And she says, well, okay, in my chocolate category, I want to add a new product for white chocolate. I want to go in and come up with something creative and new to start enticing people to come back to our brand. And so while working with Darren and Doug on the new sales promotion, she says, you know what? I need my WebEx white chocolate product bar. So we're going to come up with the WebEx WC bar. So Tracy's putting that into the mix. She has chosen white chocolate, obviously, because that's where she wants it to be, but she can select any category in here. And now she immediately adds that to the mix, and it's available to start working with. So she and Doug can start planning the uplift for the WebEx white chocolate bar for that promotion. So right now, we're getting to the point where we've got our sales planning team, our promotion planning team, and the category managers all collectively saying, yes, this is exactly where I want to be, but we maybe have some additional uplift that the management staff is looking at. So here, maybe in June, the management team says, hey, I want another 10 million uplift because we really need to start loading in and start doing some more work here. So as I go through and get that change, I can now get to that point where I've got my consensus forecast. I can, again, see it through by cycle, through customers, product line, whatever way I need to, but I have the information available to me. And so when I start looking at my dashboard, I can see the impact and how much of it is going to Walmart. Anything goes on with Walmart's order, I know that's going to be a significant impact to my numbers. So maybe I want to drill in and just see the breakdown of what's going on with Walmart and where in our Walmart chain we're seeing a large influx. You know, things going on here in Texas and Florida, I want to keep an eye on that because those are identified as the next hot spots. I can see that I've got a large mix here on my chocolates and my cakes, keeping into account what's going on my supply. I know that I'll have an effect and impact here. I can also look across the country and see anywhere else that I've got maybe a large demand going in that has that potential risk going at it. I'm able to look at all of these different signals to come up with that demand and say, yes, I am comfortable with my consensus forecast. So it's time to turn this over to Nicholas and look at our inventory levels. Nicholas is looking at his inventory on hand. He can cycle again by product. He can have it by category, geography, whatever. But now he wants to merge that demand consensus forecast that our sales team has come up with and the inventory levels to start looking at any allocations that need to happen across the distribution centers that he's running. Nicholas is going to run the optimization to look at the correlation between the demand and the inventory levels, and he wants to see if there anything else he needs to do as far as maybe additional procurement to meet those gaps. And here he can easily see that not only has he moved inventory around as needed, but he's also come up with a replenishment for the first few weeks that is going to carry them through the next 6 to 8 weeks to then burn down that inventory. So he's looking at what is the most optimal, cost-effective way to do this and still meet the demand, including the new demand for the WebEx white chocolate bar that Tracy put into place. We've gone through, we've looked at our consensus forecast. Everybody has collaborated, iterated back with our data science components of this, come up to that consensus forecast that operations has now been able to work with. And so Nicholas has said, you know what, I'm comfortable with this. Torben, can you take a look at the financials? So Torben can go right here within the solution and start seeing what is the profitability by customer, by product, by geography, overall impact, and break it down to see what's the expected economics from the new product. Torben can also collaborate with the treasury team and see if there's a cash flow impact. Do we have enough cash on hand to meet those demands and get the new procurement or moves happening? And if there's possible need to borrow against our line of credit, he can work with the treasury team because he has all of this sitting at his fingertips to help understand the entire life cycle and choices and decisions.
So there you have it. Pickle in the middle and the mustard on top. Thank you.